Hey YouTubers, coming to you again with another video. Today we're going to be doing wiring of the trailer hitch for my 2010 Q5. So I'm going to explain to you guys what I got, how it works, and show you guys installing it. And as usual, if you like the videos I make, click like, and if you want to see more of the same when I make them, hit subscribe. So let's get into it. Okay, so this is what I got. Wiring that car is a little bit different from a lot of vehicles because there is an electronic control module that converts the low voltage signal from the ECU into the high voltage signal to operate the lights, and it has to be circuit protected. So if you have a trailer that has a ton of lights on it, you know, like a long trailer with 10 lights down the side, marker lights, or high voltage brake lights or whatever, you need something like this. You don't necessarily need it for a tiny trailer, but I don't want to risk it because I'm going to be towing different stuff and I don't want to have to think about the problem. So this is from Kurt Hitch, and what this does is it converts the low signal. So I'm guessing inside of here is just a bunch of solid state relays. But anyway, you have two sets of wires. You have this, which is your standard trailer 4-pin output, and then you have these wires that are separate, and these all go to the car. So these are going to be your power, your ground, your left, right, and brake signal from the car, and then it's going to be converted in this box, and this box is going to use the high, it has to have a positive battery voltage, and then it's going to convert it to a trailer signal that you can use on any trailer. And if there's ever a short circuit on a trailer or anything like that, it's nice to know that this is going to stop that short circuit from going into the control module in your car, which is very expensive, and so thereby protecting the car. The only thing that didn't come with it, it said that this needed to be wired up to a 15 amp fusible link, and so I had this laying around from a previous project, and so I'm going to wire this in line with my positive wire that's going to go to the fuse source or the battery source, so that I will have a fusible link and everything will be wired exactly the way it is. And then of course you have your white wire, which is ground, which is this little loop, so you just got to find a screw in the body of the car and screw it, put that through, and so it's pretty straightforward. So let's go out in the car. I'll show you where the module is located, and I'll show you the pins where the wires are for the 2010 Audi Q5, and then we'll go from there. So here we are in the trunk of the Audi Q5. This is the driver's side, this is the passenger side, in case you think the video is reversed, it's not. And so on the right side here, there's this panel that has your 12 volt output for cigarette lighter or phone charger, whatever. And this panel, you can just reach behind it and it pulls out. There's nothing holding it, there's no screws or anything, it just has a couple of clips, two on the top, and then there's a little thing on the bottom that holds it in place. Now once you remove that, you can leave it laying like this, or you can disconnect the cigarette lighter. It's just one little pin. You pull that cigarette lighter is disconnected, and you can move it completely out of the way. I'm moving it out of the way for demonstration purposes. You don't have to move it out of the way if you're doing this. And then the control module for the lights is right in the corner here. So I'm going to show you guys, I'm going to bring you in nice and tight so you can see where the control module is and where the wires are for the trailer hitch. So I'm going to show you guys that, and then I'm going to show you where I'm going to wire up my power source from, because that is down in the trunk where the battery is located. In this corner where I removed that panel, there is this big black box, and this big black box does a bunch of different things. It converts the signals for the wires, and also the way this tailgate is designed, the lights on the tailgate work for the brakes and the turn signal, and then as soon as you open the tailgate, then a different set of lights work down on the bumper for your brake and your turn signal, so that if the tailgate is up, you still have lights on the body of the car. But I had already labeled these a couple weeks ago, before well, not before I ordered the part, but before the part came. So here we have right turn signal, and the right turn signal is on the top. Well, it's on the, if you're looking at the module, it's on the bottom harness that's all the way over to the left, and it's the top left one. It's black with green tracer. That's your right signal. And then over here we have the brake and the tail light, which is right next to it, and that is gray with black tracer. And what that does, it has low voltage when the taillights are on, and then high voltage when the brake is depressed. So it gets a lot more voltage when you press the brake, so it does both brake and taillight. Then on a completely different plug on the other side, so on the bottom of this module there's this plug, there's a center plug with this different harness and this purple piece, and then all the way on the other side is a different harness. And on this different harness on the top left side is this wire, which is black with a green trace, black with a, I guess that's a green tracer, yeah, no, that's a black with a blue tracer. So the right side over here is a black with a green tracer, and then the left side is a black with a blue tracer, but it is on the top left corner of this harness the same way that the right one is. So you just need to deal with this harness and this harness for all your wiring for the trailer. So all I'm gonna do right now is on that harness that I got, I'm going to wire in my positive, which is gonna come from the cigarette lighter, and then my turn signals and my brake, which are gonna come from this control module, and then the ground is gonna be this 10mm bolt that's holding the module in place. So I'm gonna do that now. I already got my soldering iron plugged in and heated up, ready for action. So I'm gonna do that and then tape everything up, and then I'm gonna show you what it looks like wired in and how we're gonna get it out of the vehicle, because that part is a little bit different. All right, real quick intermediate update. I was gonna originally wire the harness into this cigarette lighter output. That doesn't have power when the car is turned off. So if I turn the car off and I have a trailer, the trailer will have no lights. I don't see that really being a problem, but I'd rather do it the right way. So what I did was I removed the trunk cover, the subwoofer, the spare tire, and then underneath all of that is the battery. So the battery is down in here, the positive is over on the left side, and so I ran this wire. Okay, I'm gonna hook it up to the battery, but that's gonna happen last. After everything else is done, that's gonna get hooked up. But this wire, and I ran it under the carpet. So this piece of bottom trim where the latch is, that just pops out. There's no screws holding that, you just pop it out. And then this piece of trim on the side here, there are these two cable tie down things that hold it in place. Those are T30 Torx. You remove those, put this down so you don't lose the screws, and then this just pops out. And then once I did that, I ran the wire under the carpet, up under here, under this piece of carpet, and so now it comes out here in this area where the control module is. I know that's kind of overkill, but I just didn't want to have to do it twice. I want this wire secure as well as hidden, because it is going to be a powered wire, and so that's why I went through all that trouble. And after I did all of that, I'm still probably going to end up cutting this wire and putting a fuse right in line with it, so that if for any strange reason it should ever get grounded on the body of the car somewhere here, it's just going to pop that fuse instead of setting the car on fire. So that's the intermediate update. Other than that, we are on track to wire all the rest of the stuff up. I'm just going to put a fuse in here real quick and then finish that stuff. Also, other update, based on the information that I see in the wiring diagram, it's not the best diagram in the world, but it's kind of makes sense. It's saying that the tail and the brake should be joined at the module, which makes sense because the module only has one output for tail and brake. It's just high-low voltage. So I have these two joined together so that I know I'll do that. So one of these is going to be tail, one is going to be brake. It doesn't matter since they're going to be joined together at the module on the same wire. And then I got my left turn signals over there. So white is going to be ground, black is going to be power on the module, which is counterintuitive, and then everything else. So I'm going to finish it up and show you guys the results. Alright, so here we have the wires are soldered in. I still got to put electrical tape on them, but all the soldering is done, which is basically two sets of solder. There's this brown and red, which go together on the brake light, and then there's the right turn signal over here, and then the left turn signal down here, which I need to plug back in before I forget about that. And yeah, I gotta put electrical tape on those. My ground is up here. which I just have my test lead on there, but I just unscrewed that, put this wire in, and then screwed it back in place. And then my positive goes down here under the carpet, like I said earlier, comes around here, and then goes to this lead. And of course, there's this fuse right here. So if anything goes wrong, that fuse is gonna blow and we'll be all right. So now I just gotta put some electrical tape. I'm gonna test it before I put the electrical tape because I may have to cut wires, I don't know. I hope it works right. But yeah, I'm gonna turn the car on, test everything, make sure I'm getting the right signals to this harness. And once I'm done with that, I can tape everything up and close it up, and that'll be the end of the show. And then I can put these screws back here. I already put this panel back because I didn't need it out anymore. And yeah, that'll be it. So the deed is done. I double checked my work, and this is working exactly as designed. And it just hangs here. I may actually run it down. So before I even did this, I had just bought a regular wiring harness, and it runs down here. It goes through the body of the car, and it comes down here, and it's attached to the tow hitch. And so what I may end up doing is just cutting the wires on this, joining it onto that harness that I already have run through the body of the car, and that way I won't have this ugly thing sticking out of the trunk if I want to use the wire. But for now, everything works. I taped it up. This is my control module that I bought, the high-low, and I just screwed it in. There was an extra screw right here, an extra bolt right here, and I put a nut on it, held it in place. It stays real good. My wires are all nice and neat. I wrapped a bunch of electrical tape around here so stuff doesn't move around, and once I put the panel back in place, it'll be nice and neat. But yeah, everything went as expected. Didn't take a bunch of time. If I wasn't trying to record this for YouTube, I would say all in it would probably take me an hour and a half. The hardest part is finding the wires, but I already showed you guys where those are, so that's the hard part. Take your time, do it right, make sure you tape off all your solders, and make sure you put an inline fuse, and you should be good to go. So this is the final update for the tow hitch wiring harness. As you saw before, I wired in the wiring harness here. This is the high voltage, low voltage conversion module. I just connected it up here, and then what I did was the harness comes down here, and then I already had wires ran from the tow hitch from right here up through a grommet and into the car. And so instead of running so it came in here down in front of the battery compartment, you can see it, and I ran it up here under the carpet, and then all I did was at the end of the harness that I already had ran, you can't really see it, but what I did was I soldered on this piece right here, and then I just connected it here. Let me see if I can disconnect it so you can see what I did. So I just made a unit. It's basically an extension. This is just an extension cord, and so this plugs into this, which is the harness that I installed originally, so that everything is tucked away nice and neat in here. This I can disconnect if I ever need to. I don't know why I would ever need to. And then it runs down, so I don't have to hang it out the trunk of the car if I need to tow something. It's just always right there, which that's just zip tied in place, but I might zip tie it somewhere else a little higher up. I don't know how I feel about it hanging that low down, but that's the end of it. I used it once. It works perfectly. I'm very happy with the results.